Okay, hey everyone, it's Michael Valtos from Orderflows, and this is the Orderflows market analysis for Thursday, June 22nd, 2017. The market was pretty uneventful today. Jobless claims came out, and it did edge higher, but not by very much, and it remains consistent with the very strong demand for labor. Like I said, the markets were in a very narrow range. S&Ps were pretty much unchanged. Oil, which has been on the back foot recently, actually posted a slight gain near $42.75, and dollar index and currencies were, pretty much unchanged as well. So, that said, let's take a look at the market. But before I do, go through the disclaimer. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only, should not be considered a solicitation to buy or sell a futures contract or make any other type of investment decision. Futures trading contains substantial risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more than the initial investment. Risk capital is money that could be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Don't trade with scared money, and don't trade with money you need to pay the bills. The tools I use in this presentation are the Orderflows Trader and the Delta Scalper, which is a neat little tool we developed to help analyze the delta and help you make better trading decisions. Later I'm going to do another presentation on delta in response to a question I got about delta. So look for that on either later today or tomorrow. I hope to get it done today. So, like I said, the market's pretty uneventful today. The nice trading opportunities during the trading room was actually in the 5 years. And I don't want to call it the trading room. It's more of my education center for users of my software, right? You get my software, you get access to my trading, quote unquote trading room, but I don't like the term trading room because that implies that you're just there to get listen to me say buy here, sell there. No, I talk about what's going on in the order flow, so I don't want to mislead people thinking that it's a place you can come in and just sit back and follow my trades. No, I talk about what I'm seeing in the order flow so you can follow along and pick it up as well. So in the room this morning, 9 o'clock, you had the high in the 5 years. You got your ratio with your divergence. Again, I talk about this every single day. And, if by now you haven't applied it to your trading, why not? I mean, again, I just show you these setups. Boom, sells off from its high right down to the low. You do have a Delta Scalper given a buy here, but again, it's on a red bar. You don't want to be taking it on a red bar. What you want is price action in the bar to confirm that, the market is indeed moving up. Next bar comes in, hits the low, then it starts its move back up. But again, it's mostly sideways for most of the day. Your point of control for the day is, right smack dab in the middle of your profile. Now, earlier in the session at 5 in the morning, you had a ratio bounds low as well. You went from your high right down to your low, though very tight range. Your move only consisted of 3 bars on a 4 range chart. You had a ratio down here, no divergence. But you did start rallying back up. Again, Delta Scalper given a buy, you rally right back up into that high where you get that beautiful sweet sell right there on the top, and you sell off from your high down to your low. The bonds, the bonds didn't really offer any decent opportunities today. It was, I don't say a bit messy, but just not as neat and tidy as the 5 years were. So, this is the bonds this morning. Just even going back, back here to this low at 7:20 in the morning, you rallied up off of that. It's a ratio. There's no divergence, and you rallied up to your high. You started coming off. Delta Scalper giving a sell there right off the high. You sold off down into the lows. You got a divergence, but no ratio. You did make a new low later. You got the negative delta, so you don't have a divergence. You do have a ratio though, and you rally back up. I'd prefer it with ratios, and divergences. You don't have it here on the bonds. Now the bunds, sticking with interest rates. Let me find my chart here in the bunds. Where are you? Okay, so here. Now again, being a consistently good trader, I don't want to say being consistently profitable or anything like that, but being consistent in your trading means that you have to take the trades when they present themselves, So here early in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Bunds open at 1 a.m. Chicago time. The cash market in the Bunds is an hour later, 2 o'clock. And boom, right after the open, you get a ratio with divergence sell. Okay. What happens? The market rallies back up to the high. You get another ratio, no divergence. The market still is not selling off. And in fact, rallies makes new highs. Now there's something in this bar that's actually bullish here. But what I'm keying in on is this failed divergence with ratio. And again, some people will see this and take the loss and say, ratios and divergences suck. Yeah, I just had a loss. I mean, people are like that, They don't understand that trading is a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? You have to be in it over the long term. Your trading career does not revolve around one trade. And you rally back up here, boom, and you got another ratio with divergence. Okay, you have a second chance to get in. You got a lot of selling imbalances in here. 1, 2, 3. Next bar, even though it's green, you still got a nice selling imbalance. You rally back up to the high, just like you did here. You had your short, rally back up and hit that high, and probably you're thinking, fuck, man, why do I listen to this guy? He's telling me ratios with divergences are great trades. And here, we're right back up at our high now. It's against me. Well, again, be patient. Have faith in what you're doing. Next bar down. Next bar a little bit lower. Next bar rallies back up within a tick of the high. And you're thinking, fuck, man, am I ever going to get anything? But it's not stopping you out. It's still, below your stop. Your stop is just right above this high. If you breach this high, there's no reason to be short. Right? So, it's not like you're placing your stop 5 points above this high. No, it's very tight. It's a 4-range bar, so you got a 5-tick stop. And then now, a little bit later, this is when the move starts. So again, you're getting short somewhere around 12. Next thing you know, not next thing you know, but a little bit later, you're trading 04. Boom, 02. Rally back up to 10, come back up, and just sort of hanging around, make a move back down to 04. But really, you should be getting this move down to at least 5 or 6. I'm not saying that you'd hold it all the way here until 4 in the morning when it gets below 00, but it does come down and and just sort of hang around off the low here. Again, you're not going to get short at 220 and still be in this position at 4 o'clock in the 2 hours later. So again, that's the thing is stick with it, right? I mean, one of the reasons why traders, beginning traders, new traders, so to speak, fail is because they don't have faith in what they're doing. They learn something, they think it's great, they test it out in sim, hey, this is the way to go, and I'm going to do this, and they try it for a week. Maybe they don't take all the signals, they take some of them, and they try to overanalyze and don't take some, and those are the trades that are winners, and they give it up, and they think, this is not the way to trade, and next thing you know, a week later, they're onto something else. You got to stick with it, right? You got to stick with your analysis. If you trust what you're doing, I'll say the money will come, but the good trades will come as long as you have faith in what you're doing, and what you're doing makes sense. I mean, you can have faith in what you're doing, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay, so now we'll move on to the Eurocurrencies. Let's start talking a bit about the different currencies. So here we got the Eurocurrency this morning. Now this was interesting. We rallied up at around, just around 5 in the morning. You have the swing high here, and you got this move up from 14 all the way up to 26. Red bar, positive delta though. But next bar, delta scalper kicks off. You have a selling imbalance in this bar. This is around, the 20 level, 112.20. And we sell off, not a big move. We sell off down to around 12. Actually get a little bit lower here, down below 10. Then we start working our way back up. Delta scalper again in this bar. And, this level is very close to this previous level here. Slightly higher. But you're seeing, here you had your swing high. Selling came in right off this high. Now you rally back up to that level. You got selling coming back in, with the delta scalper alerting you that selling is back in again at that same level. And what happens is you sell back off down to the level that you sold off before. I mean, to me that was a pretty clear one. That was a bit early in the morning, but again, that was you know, when you think, right, it's a level, okay? You get up here, people are interested in selling it. You rally back up here, you see a sign that people are interested in selling it. Again, I mean, what more do you need? As far as, you know, you need to be hit over the head with a baseball bat to understand that. But again, you know, maybe some people aren't interested in it. A little bit later, you get 928. You get a delta scalper giving you a buy here. Next bar is up. Next bar is down. You got side by side point of controls, and the bar in the second side by side point of control is red. You know, then the next bar is down as well, lower point of control. So at this point, I'm not really looking for a move higher with this delta scalper, because, you know, signs are telling me that this move is kind of stalled out, and maybe it's going to be heading back down again, and, you know, just sort of goes sideways. Eventually it does sell off, but again, you know, the sign that this trade was not going to work out is right here. These point of controls not going any higher. In fact, they're just going lower here. You got a new high point of control. This one is higher than this bar, but then this one's equal, and then this one's lower. So, you know, that's a sign that this trade is not working out. Then again, you make new lows, come down into the new lows. Divergence here that fails, get a new low here. You know, delta scalper buy here, but it's a red candle. I'm not interested in it. Delta scalper buy here is a green candle. Now I'm interested in it, right? Why am I not interested in on a red candle? Well, it's a red freaking candle. Why would I be looking to get long when the market's selling off? Again, delta scalper reads the delta. It doesn't factor in price, right? It just reads the delta, and it's up to you as a trader to make the decision. Do I take this trade now or not? You know, if you don't take it now because it's a red candle, price action is telling you the market's still moving lower, well, wait for the ideal conditions. Ideal conditions is on a green bar on a market that's moving up, and you get it here. So, you know, even if you missed it here, it's giving you another entry right here. And this time, you know, the market pops up over the next few bars. Does come down, makes new lows. This is around, what time is this? Just before 1 o'clock. Here you got a divergence, no ratio. Well, earlier you had a ratio. A divergence with no ratio, but here again you get a divergence with no ratio. Then you get it into the next bar. Again, I say you got a divergence, look for a ratio to confirm it, either in the bar that the divergence is in or the next bar, and you got it in the next bar, and the market pops up here quite nicely. Okay, the next market I'll talk about is, I forgot which one it was, yen, I think it was, I want to talk about. Okay, so, you know, just go back to the high here. Oh, where was the high? High was here. Well, the high was an Asian session. Let's take it from the European session high. Well, it's not really the high. It came within a couple of ticks of the high, sold off. It's sort of just grinding itself lower, then makes a move around 5, 6 o'clock. Gets down towards the low. Again, you know, you got the market coming down here. Boom, boom, boom. Deltas are getting, I'll say small, but, you know, they're not big. You got a stacked imbalance here. Again, you stacked imbalance sort of coming into the low. I'd rather not take it. Well, the low is here at 7.5. You can't see, it's this red line, but this yellow line is the opening price. Sort of coming down here, so I know there's selling going on. You know, obviously, you know, I'm not surprised to see a selling imbalance near a low. I'd be more surprised to see a selling balance near the high. And then what do you get as you start coming into this low? Signs of buying. You know, that's what I'm looking for, signs of buying. I'm not looking for signs of selling as the market's selling off. I already know the market is selling off. Instead, what I'm looking for is, you know, a pulse in the market, you know, that's got a heartbeat, that maybe there's buying coming in, and you get it here with the delta scalper, and it pops up over the next few bars. It goes from, you know, 18 all the way up to 26 before dropping back down around that area where you had this similar low. Again, single print here, single print there, 2 lots here, 1 lot here, 1 or 2 ticks above. And then again, you see the buying coming in with the stacked imbalance. Again, you know, would you rather be taking selling imbalance near the low or buying imbalance near to the low? You know, we already know the market is selling off here, okay? I don't want to be, oh, there's a stack selling imbalance, you get short. You know, I'd rather have that sign, you know, much higher, you know, way up here, rather than have a move from your high down to your low, and then you get a stack selling imbalance and you get all excited because you got a stack selling imbalance. Well, you already know the market's selling off. The market is sold off already. Can the move continue? Of course it can. Can the move stop? Yes, it can also. So, where would you, ask yourself, where would you rather be getting short? At a higher level, or after a move just happened and, hey, I got stacked imbalance, get short? I'd rather not take that. I'd be more interested in this, especially coming after this bar here with a single print with a ratio indicating price rejection. And, this is a better trading opportunity. And the market, it rallies again, from the 22 area up to 32, 34, later it goes higher. Then it's sort of, you get this double top here like this. You got 50 lots traded, second time 14. I always like it when you get less volume the second time around. Market comes off again. Delta scalper gives a buy here. This one just doesn't work out. Next bar is red, lower point of control. Next bar, lower point of control. This would have just stopped you out in this bar here. Again, another delta scalper buy. This one again fails. Get down here. You got a ratio. Oh, sorry, no ratio. You have a divergence. You got an imbalance here. You got this green arrow. So I know there's some trap traders down here. Or I hate that term, trap traders, but traders stuck selling into this low with the head fake, and the market rallies back up. Then you get a stack selling imbalance again. Is this where you would want to take it? I'm not a big fan of them here. I said, although it is after a little bit of a move up, rather than earlier I showed you that one stacked imbalance, it came like literally right after a move down. At least this one, you got a little bit of a bounce up and some selling coming back in. And I think that was about it. If anything of interest in the yen today. What else do I want to look at? Let's take a look at pound. I think I got a pound chart. I don't remember if there was anything interesting in this market from earlier. Pound is not, it's something people are interested in it, so I like to talk about markets people have interest in. Okay, so yeah, 828, 911, ratio and divergences here. Again, it doesn't get any more obvious than this. Ratio and divergence. Again, ratio and divergence. Market rallies up. Delta scalper, sell. Sells off. Sort of goes sideways, unfortunately. But again, this is it right here. Screenshot that and just look for these types of trades. Beans. I think were interesting today. Let me see if I can find the chart. Do with it. Beans. Here we go. Okay, so it was big. Beans moved. Had a big move today. So again, 830 is the reopen. 834 ratio with divergence. You pop up about 2 cents. Start working your way down. You got ratio bounds low here, point of control on the bottom, which to me is normally a very bullish bar, and just comes right back down. You got delta scalper on a doji bar. Again, doji bars I tend to find to be in order flow relatively neutral, in the sense that I don't really like to take trades off doji bars. Then you get down here, new low, divergence, ratio in the next bar. Again, market pops up about about 2 cents as well. So you've had already two ratios and 1 or 2 cents on the first one, good 2 cents on the next one. Again, if you held it all the way up through here, you get a little bit more out of it. Market starts falling over again. You did have this trade. I thought this was bullish, even though there's no divergence here. I could live with that because to me there's some supportive volume. I felt there was some supportive volume in here. But again, if you get through this volume like this, you start trading down through it, I do believe the market will sell off in times like that, especially in the beans. You hit these levels of commercial support that, if that commercial support gets blown out, then, the market's just going to naturally drop probably a couple cents. So, you get up to the swing high, no ratio, you got a single print up there, market sells off. I would love to say, oh, well, this is the price rejector, but I'd love to have something else up there besides just the price rejector. Get down here, no divergence, no ratio. pop up a little bit, again, make the move down. Whoops. Lower, failed divergence. And this time it's already 1 o'clock. This market closes in 15 minutes. You got a ratio and a divergence. Again, it's one of those things that's tricky if you want to take a trade going into the close, because you only got a limited time, and heaven forbid you lose your connection and you're sitting on a position exposed until the reopen. Granted, the market reopens, 6 hours later. It's not like you got to sweat it out overnight like you used to. But again, it's not advisable to be taking stuff so close to the close. But again, if you took this one, you lost. And it comes down here, point of control right on the bottom. If you're a risk taker, you have 4 minutes for the close. You could write it up a couple of pennies, a couple of cents there. So again, there's some trades that worked out, some trades that didn't. I would really love to, and say, oh, this this price rejector here is the trade of the day, but again, I like price rejector as a backup tool, not necessarily for a tool to take trades off of myself. But again, that's me, that's how I use them. But again, that was all you had in the price rejector. You had one sign today right here. All these things are tools. These things I develop are tools. The Delta Scalper is more of I don't say a trading system, but again, I know people have built trading systems around that Delta Scalper. So, I haven't talked about S&Ps. We'll take a look at S&Ps now. I can find my chart. 10 range. We'll start with the 10 range. Where the heck are you? Very boring morning in S&Ps this morning. We just did make new highs later in the day, but get this off. So right on the low, just before 5 o'clock, you had Delta Scalper giving a buy. You had a divergence. You literally went from your divergence on your high to your low. But again, I'd like to have a little bit something besides divergence. But in here you got the Delta Scalper giving a buy. You rally up, you get up to cash open, and the market just went sideways on you from 8:30 all the way up to just before 10 o'clock, 9:45, when it started rallying, making these new highs. And yesterday's value area high to me was around this 38 level. So I had that as a target. Actually, if you look back on yesterday's session, to me the value area high just sort of comes in right here, which is around 38, 37 and 3/4. So, and what happens? We get up to 30, 39 actually. Nothing really in here to tell me to get short. Really what I wanted to see was I wanted to see if the market could get past the value area and continue on. You're starting to break out of yesterday's value. You rallied all the way up through it, right? And I want to see if you're going to get new sellers coming into the market, right? People with deep pockets to cause the trend to happen, and it doesn't happen. It just sort of falls back in. Here you got a ratio with, you got a divergence and a ratio in the next bar, and the market just sort of hangs around, goes sideways. You make a new high by, what is that, 3 ticks, and then you sell off. And again, on a daily chart, it's just looks like it's just a doji candle, I believe. Let me get it up here. Yesterday, right here. This is where we are in the evening session. I kind of predicted. I don't say I predicted. I was expecting something like this to happen. This Monday where you had the big up day, you didn't get any follow through the next day. You can't even take out the previous high, and you just sort of come back in. And then on Wednesday, sort of a nothing day, and Thursday again, sort of a nothing day as well. So we'll see what Friday brings. Take a look at crude really quick. I don't think there was anything in the crude, but let's take a look. Crude had been moving around the last couple of days. So what do you got here? So you got this 8 o'clock, 8:18, Delta Scalper giving you a buy. Market pops up a little bit, sort of comes back down in there. We start rallying later. off your high, delta scalper given a sell, and delta, sells off a little bit. Delta scalper gives a buy here, just goes sideways, and then we sell off late in the day. You got a stacked imbalance there. Sort of come down into this low area, sort of hang around here. It's around 12 o'clock. Delta scalper given a buy, does pop up a bit. Delta scalper gives a sell here. Delta scalper and price rejector. Market starts coming off. Delta scalper given a buy here. Whoops. This is already 230 though. Just sort of did nothing there. So I mean, just using the delta scalper by itself, I think he did have a few opportunities, few trading opportunities there. Here off the high here. Little, it depends. I don't know what you could have got on this. Maybe you would have broken even. But then again, this one also a nice one here. So there were some decent opportunities there on the delta scalper. So was there any other markets? I think I covered everything here. What is this? It's meal, soy meal again. Soy meal is not something that many people are interested in besides me, but this is this 8 range chart. But again, I'd be looking for the same things. You don't have anything in here. Here's a delta scalper kicking off, giving a sell, and the market sells off quite nicely here. It's $10 a tick, so a move from 296 to 295 is it's $100. So it got all the way down to 293.5. But again, the soy meal is an interesting contract to trade because when we get into the summer months, it tends to be a bit more volatile, and there could be some. Like I said, it's $10 a tick. Can be some decent trading opportunities in there if you're, but you gotta be good. You gotta be quick. I'll say good. You gotta be quick because it can move sometimes pretty quick on you. It can move. From 295 to 296. Sometimes it can jump like that pretty quick. So again, thanks for watching this, and be sure to subscribe to my channel below. Click the subscribe button, and if you're interested in learning more about order flow, visit my website, orderflows.com. And I'm always running specials on the software. So again, if you're interested in order flow, visit my website, orderflows.com. Or subscribe to my YouTube channel. At least you'll be alerted when I post new videos. So thanks everyone. Bye bye.